Hey, this is the World Advice Channel too. What I want to talk about today is the topic of the truth about the media. So for this video, I'm going to discuss the truth when it comes to the power of the media, when it comes to how important it is, because a lot of people underestimate the importance of the media. In order to enlighten people, especially oppressed groups of people, on how to defend themselves from the media control, that's being used by powerful people. In other words, the media, how it's being used by the people who run this world, the very powerful people that run this world in order to control people. So you are not taken advantage of. Okay. So now that I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the truth about the media, when it comes to the power the media has, is that it's a way of using pleasure in order to control people. In other words, it's weaponizing pleasure, okay? Because even though the media might seem like, okay, like how the hell is it being used as a way to control people and all that stuff through pleasure and stuff? Like it's not a drug, like I know a lot of people are going to think in their head. The truth of the matter is, it definitely very, very, very strongly is, okay? Um, being used as a way to control people, okay? Because the media, aside from it being made up of things like the news, like telling people what's going on in the world and stuff, it's also made up of something very big, like entertainment, okay? Which entertainment is definitely a form of pleasure, okay? Whether you're watching a documentary about something like about the history of the world and or animals, or even maybe something like the history of humanity, whatever, or travel or all that stuff, which is considered more educational. That's still technically entertainment, okay? Because a lot of that stuff you don't even really have to learn it in order to survive. Yes, it might help you a little bit, but for the most part, it's entertainment. Let alone things that are directly meant for entertainment, like like fiction based shows, more like um all that type of stuff. Like TV shows, video games, and of course music. We can't forget about music. All that stuff are forms of pleasure. Okay, um, in order to, of course, which the way it's been set up with the way the world is, in order to control people, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, which I'm saying this because I see a lot of groups of people get taken advantage of in this world. And I actually really do realize, even though there's other things that make up life, obviously aside from media, when it comes to what keeps our civilization functioning, the truth of the matter is, okay, the media, aside from like being able to, of course, use violence, is actually the second most powerful thing people in power, like specifically America, aside from military, the entertainment is the second most powerful thing that is used, you know to control people, okay? Because as I said before, it's weaponizing pleasure, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, let's keep it real though, okay? Reality outside of like TV shows and stuff, and just in general, in other words, the media that is given to us through TV, and of course nowadays specifically through the computer, like the internet and stuff like that. Life without it is actually extremely boring, okay? And I'm not going to hide my words. Without um entertainment, like TV shows, movies, music, and all that type of stuff, life is actually really freaking boring, okay? Especially with the time period we are living in, since you know um we live in a time period where it's not like how it was centuries to thousands of years ago, to tens of thousands of years ago, where there was always constant violence and drama and stuff. Modern day life is actually very peaceful for developed nations specifically, okay? For developed nations, okay? And even for the more troll parts of the world, life is definitely not as bad as it used to be, okay? But the truth of the matter is, as a result of that, it's also made life actually extremely boring for the most part, okay? And no, I'm not saying that bad things have to happen, okay? to make life actually interesting, or I should say it's good for bad things to happen to make life actually interesting. Okay. I'm not saying that, but we can't deny an objective fact. When bad things do happen, it does make things interesting. Okay. And to obviously make up for that void, okay, we have stuff like entertainment, which of course is a part of the media. Okay. And like TV shows, movies, you know, video games, music, and even you can even say sports, because we don't need sports to survive. It's just entertainment too. Okay. And those are all things that give all our lives, give us as human beings, okay, pleasure. Okay. And obviously, if you have something like pleasure, people are going to be tempted to consume it, even if they're not happy with the way things are. Just like, give a perfect example what I mean. Okay, just like say you're a black person. Okay, you know, in like America or something for that matter. Okay, specifically living decades ago. Okay, you already know pretty much most white people hate your ass anyway. Okay, but you realize that even though you hate their asses, you know at least the racist ones, for that matter, but or to make things simple, okay, to not create any controversy, a lot of them do not like you, and they are kind of pressing you, for that matter. It's hard to just not consume the media um that they create, okay, for that matter, okay, which obviously through that media, they can not only brainwash you to see the world a certain way, they can also in a way as well humiliate you, because it's like, okay, I know you guys are not happy with the way we are treating you, okay, but at the same time, we made something so enjoyable, we know you cannot resist to consume it, which of course is not a very empowering thing and can actually encourage people to hate themselves, because it's a humiliating thing. So, in other words, through media, using pleasure, okay, it's a very effective strategy to control a population by, of course, giving them an inferiority complex, okay? And I'm not saying the majority of black people, even decades ago when this stuff was particularly kind of going on, hate themselves, okay? But it definitely can make a lot of them hate themselves, okay? For that matter, okay? It's just like, you know, you have a person who absolutely hates you and treats you badly, but he's like one of the most interesting people out there. Like, that's not very good for the mind. So, in short, to answer your question, you definitely, for not just black people, for oppressed groups of people, to avoid that type of humiliation and mistreatment, as well as manipulation, you have to create your own media, okay? For that matter, okay? Because if you're not going to create your own media, then people are just going to take advantage of you, okay? And it's not good for the mind. Like, if you're part of a group of people, who does your own fucking thing, or, more like does your own thing because you're mistreated, and there's a group of people who absolutely hate your asses, whether you're black or for any oppressed group of people, you know if they're the most interesting, entertaining people in the world, then and we are not creating our own stuff, then it makes it more likely we'll consume their media, and that's not good for the mind. So to sum things up in general, the best thing to realize when it comes to power for oppressed groups of people is to create your own media, okay? Whether it comes down to race, you know, ethnicity, religion, nationality, and maybe even just demographic. If you realize people are not treating you fucking well, create your own shit. Just like create your own music. You might have a group of people who treat you like shit. But a lot of the group of people make good ass freaking music. You know, so make your own music then, and do your own thing, and create your own community as a result of that, where you create your own stuff and not throw on people who hate you. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. Okay? Because the truth of the matter is, if you can create your own media, okay, of course, there's other things that can give an oppressed group of people power, like obviously knowing how to fight militarily, having good infrastructure, medicine, obviously food as well. Like, those are things that are extremely important as well. But when it comes to, like, out of all those things, okay, the thing you want to focus on aside from obviously knowing how to defend yourself physically, it is creating your own media. Out of all those extremely important things, I would literally say the media is actually the other one aside from defending yourself physically. That's the most important. If you can do that specifically, they cannot control you. And through not being able to control you, they can't really do anything to you. And that's the truth of the matter. They can't do shit to you. And if they're able to not do shit to you, then you can live a very happy, comfortable life and not have to worry about even looking at their faces if they're treating you like shit, okay? And it's not a hate video or something against any particular group of people, but I'm just saying if you're being oppressed, I want to have something that gives me power and uplifts me and not tries to keep me down. And that's the truth, okay? So that's what I want to talk about, and that's it. And so people, I'm out. Bye.